Have you ever walked into a room and felt like all eyes were on you? Like every little thing that you do is being analyzed, it's being judged. That feeling, that intense self-consciousness is called the spotlight effect. And it's making you hold back. It's making you second guess yourself constantly and just stay in your own head a lot. And those are the barriers that we are going to shatter in today's video. Because in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to detach from obsessing over other people's opinions of you, how to silence that inner critic because it starts with you, and how to finally move through life with unshakable confidence. Because the moment you stop obsessing about who's watching is the moment you start truly living. Welcome to the Chic Evolution, your ultimate destination for fashion, beauty, and empowerment. I am a former top model and multiple beauty pageant winner. I've had the privilege of walking the runways from America to Europe. I've graced magazine covers, and my passion for helping others has empowered me to uplift those around me. So join me as I share insider tips on style, confidence, and living your best chic life. Because at the Chic Evolution, confidence is always in season. Welcome back to our little corner of the internet where we explore all things fashion, all things beauty, and of course, all things empowerment. Before we get started, you know the drill. Please do take the time to subscribe to the channel and like this video for more content like this. And please also do comment because it really helps with the algorithm. Let me know where you're watching this from. What country are you viewing this channel from? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you are new here, first of all, you are so very welcome to hang out over here. I must let you know that over here, we like to start the video by lighting up a candle at the beginning, just for the good vibes and just to set the tone. And towards the end of the video, I turn it off and I send you with a kind and uplifting affirmation. And I always like to encourage you, if you have a candle at home, to also join in this little practice. Okay, so let me grab my candle. So here's the candle that we have today. It's the same candle that we had last time. So I'm gonna flip mine upside down. And there you go. Here is our little candle for today. Anyways, let's get started. I am so excited for this video. Oh my God, let's jump right in. And we're gonna jump right in by talking about your inner critic. Because one of the most daunting aspects of being seen is that little voice inside your head that's just saying negative things, right? But what if you could flip the script? Instead of trying to silence that voice, what if you use it as a tool for growth? So it's easy to treat your inner critic as the enemy. But the reality is, it's just trying to protect you. That's just how the human body works, because fear is a mechanism meant to keep you from harm. And in many cases, that's what your inner critic is doing. It's trying to warn you, but it often does so in a way that's counterproductive. The key here is to stop fearing your inner critic and instead reframe its role. So recognize that that voice isn't necessarily telling you that you're bad at something or you're unworthy of something. It's simply highlighting areas where you might need to put in a little bit more work and a little bit more effort. So let's say you're afraid of presenting in front of an audience. The inner critic might say something like, you don't have the skills to present, you'll mess this up, or whatever the case may be. Instead of letting that fear paralyze you, acknowledge it. And then ask yourself, what can I do to prepare better? What are the skills that I already have that I can sharpen? This little shift in your thinking turns fear into motivation to improve rather than something that keeps you stuck, you know? So try approaching your fears as challenges, because the fear of being seen is truly just rooted in the fear of failure. But failure can be a powerful teacher, because each mistake or each mishap is an opportunity to refine your approach. And I promise you that over time, you'll begin to see that your inner critic is not a force of destruction, but it's a catalyst for self-improvement. And you know, you can also learn to celebrate those moments when the inner critic speaks up. When it says something like, you can't do this, you know what I mean? You can treat that as a sign that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone and that you're just growing. Because the more you embrace these awkward and uncomfortable moments, the less power your inner critic will have over you. You will realize that it's not about silencing that voice. It's really about listening to it constructively and using it to become better. And one useful technique is to reframe negative thoughts into a positive one. So instead of thinking, I'll mess this up, try saying, I'm not perfect at this, but I can learn from this experience. This small shift in perspective can drastically reduce anxiety and build confidence. And I promise you that over time, you'll start to rely on avoiding self-criticism and more on using it as a tool for personal growth. And ultimately, the inner critic is just a reflection of your desires. It's a reflection of your desires to succeed. Because by seeing it as a friend rather than an enemy, you can really use its insight to fuel your progress and transform your fear into your greatest asset. For this next subject, I have a question for you. Have you ever caught yourself thinking that everyone is scrutinizing your every mood? That's the power of the spotlight effect. That psychological phenomenon where we believe that everyone is paying attention to us when in reality, they're not. This feeling can be paralyzing, especially when you're trying to be seen or when you're trying to put yourself out there. The truth is, most people are just too focused on themselves than they are on you. So when you step into a room, whether it's for a presentation, a social event, or just like everyday interactions, remember that most people are just too preoccupied with their own thoughts and their own worries to focus intensely on you. So the next time you feel eyes on you, take a deep breath and remind yourself that chances are they're not judging you as critically as you believe. Remember that everyone is too caught up in their own internal dialogue to analyze yours. And this is liberating because it takes the weight off your shoulders and it allows you to show up more authentically. When you think others are scrutinizing your every word and every movement, you tend to get more nervous and you tend to just get more self-conscious, which makes it harder to perform at your best. However, when you realize that people are likely not as fixated on you as you think they are, you release that tension and focus more on your message, on your purpose, and simply just enjoying the present moment. And a powerful way to shift this mindset is by practicing mindfulness. So just start noticing when your thoughts drift into self-consciousness and gently remind yourself that most of the time, those thoughts are based on assumptions, not facts. So reframing your thoughts from everyone is looking at me to everyone is focused on their own lives can really make a huge difference in how you perceive a situation. And with time, this shift becomes second nature and you'll just feel more at ease in public settings. So another great way to combat the spotlight effect is by shifting your focus onto others. So engage in conversations, ask questions, and just be genuinely interested in what others have to say. When your attention is outward rather than inward, you naturally become less concerned with how you're being perceived. Because the more you connect with others, the less power the fear of judgment will have over you. And in the end, realizing that people are far less focused on you than you think is one of the most freeing revelations you can have. It's really a game changer when it comes to tackling your fear of being seen. So instead of obsessing over how you're being perceived, you can focus on what truly matters. Your message, your presence, and guess what? Your impact. So another roadblock for many people when it comes to being seen is the fear of rejection. Whether you're putting your ideas out there or sharing your talents, the thought of someone saying no or just dismissing you can be paralyzing. But the truth is, rejection is not always about you. It's simply a reflection of circumstances, timing, and fit sometimes. You know what I mean? Not an assessment of your worth. You need to remember that, because one way to reframe rejection is by recognizing that it's often about external factors, not a personal judgment on who you are as a person. For example, let's say you did a job interview and the job didn't go the way you wanted, and it could be because you're just not qualified. Maybe the company wanted to look for someone with a specific skill set that you just don't have yet. Similarly, if someone doesn't respond positively to a creative project that you put out there, it might just be that it didn't resonate with their personal taste, not because it's a reflection of your abilities. So the key is to detach your sense of worth from the outcome, because rejection can feel like a personal attack sometimes, especially when you've put a lot of yourself into something. But the more you understand that rejection is often circumstantial, the less it stings. By reframing the experience as a learning opportunity, you can use it to improve and to just move forward with a greater sense of resilience. And another effective strategy is just to remind yourself that rejection doesn't define your value. It simply opens space for something better. Think about it this way. Every no brings you closer to a yes. So if you shift your mindset to see rejection as redirection, you'll feel less discouraged and more motivated to just keep going. So one of the most powerful ways to overcome the fear of being seen is to surround yourself with a supportive community that believes in you. We are social creatures as human beings, and the people we interact with have a huge impact on how we view ourselves. So distance yourself from negative people and surround yourself with supportive individuals. This can help drown that negative self-talk, and it's going to replace it with uplifting messages of encouragement and of self-belief. Because when you feel supported by others, you're more likely to feel confident and just willing to put yourself out there. And this doesn't mean that you need a large circle of people around you. Sometimes just key friends, maybe mentors, or even colleagues who genuinely support and who genuinely care about you will make all the difference. Because these people will remind you of your worth when your critic is the loudest. And they can also offer advice and constructive feedback when you need it the most. And in addition to all of that, a supportive community offers a safe space for vulnerability. So when you're surrounded by people who understand your goals, who respect you as a person and respect your own values, you'll feel more comfortable showing up as your authentic self. And this is essential when overcoming the fear of being seen, because it's often the fear of being judged or the fear of being misunderstood that holds you back. So having a group of people who genuinely care about you, who genuinely care about your goals, your dreams, your success, your life, just you as a person, can make the biggest difference. So consider building these relationships, whether it's through networking, joining groups with similar interests, or simply spending more time with those who are already uplifting you right now. Because when you create a support system, you start to realize that the fear of judgment is far less daunting, because you know that you have people who have your back. And more than that, being around supportive people can really help you gain a different perspective on how to approach being seen, because maybe they've been through similar situations or similar struggles, or maybe they figured out ways to push through their own fears. And these shared experiences can be invaluable in helping you see that you're not alone and that fear is a normal part of growth. And ultimately, the more you surround yourself with people who encourage you to be your authentic self, the easier it becomes to embrace being seen. Their positivity, their belief, and their understanding can really help you break free from the limitations imposed by fear and allow you to step into the spotlight. And another thing, one of the most powerful ways to combat the fear of being seen is by shifting your focus from how you're being perceived to the impact you want to make. So instead of worrying about whether people like you, whether people are impressed by you, or if people are judging you, ask yourself, what am I trying to achieve? What is my message? What is my purpose? And what is my intention? When you focus on the impact of your actions rather than the reactions of others, you know what you'll find? You'll find that the fear of judgment fades into the background. Your attention shifts to what matters the most, the value that you're providing. Whether you're delivering a speech, maybe you're creating some good art, or simply engaging in a good conversation, when your focus is on creating positive change or offering something meaningful, the fear of being seen becomes less significant. And this shift in perspective doesn't happen overnight, but with practice, you'll start to feel less consumed by the idea of judgment and more focused on your goals. It's really about asking yourself, what am I here to do? Instead of asking yourself, what will people think of me? The more you ground yourself in your purpose, the easier it becomes to let go of fears that just don't serve you. So to really strengthen this mindset, it's helpful to keep your mission at the forefront of your mind. So write down your core values, what you want to accomplish, and why it matters to you. So having a clear sense of purpose will help you navigate moments of vulnerability with a sense of direction and also a sense of confidence. Because think about it, when you focus on the impact over the perception, you really become less dependent on external validation. Your confidence will grow because you're driven by something deeper than the approval or praise of others. It's really a game changer in terms of overcoming the fear of being seen, because you realize that your worth isn't tied to the opinions of others. It's tied to the difference that you're making in this world. And as you continue to practice this mindset, you'll find that the fear of judgment no longer holds the same weight. The more you concentrate on the legacy or the change that you want to create, the less energy you give to the fear of how others perceive you. You just won't care about it as much. Now, this next subject is one that we just need to dive deeper into, because one of the final pieces of the puzzle when it comes to overcoming the fear of being seen is detachment. And this really is about understanding that others' judgment or opinions do not define who you are as a person. And the truth is, people will judge. They're gonna judge anyways. And that's simply part of life. But you don't have to let their judgments control your actions or your emotions. And detachment is a practice that involves separating your sense of self from the opinions of others. It's about recognizing that judgment is a reflection of the person doing the judging, not necessarily an accurate assessment of your worth. So people's perceptions are often influenced by their own biases, their own insecurities and experiences. So taking them personally is a disservice to yourself. And one way to detach is by practicing mindfulness. And I know that we touched on this a little bit earlier in the video, but I want you to see it this way. This involves observing your own thoughts without judgment, allowing yourself to feel fear, allowing yourself to feel anxiety without reacting to it. By simply acknowledging these emotions without identifying with them, you can take away their power over you. When you detach from the need for approval, you open yourself up for more authentic and genuine experiences. You can also practice this by letting go of the need to control how others see you. Recognize that you cannot control others' reactions, but you can control your response. So this mental shift allows you to act with more freedom and more confidence, knowing that you are enough as you are, regardless of external opinions. And in the end, detachment isn't about becoming indifferent or emotionless. It's about protecting your peace and staying true to yourself, no matter what others think or say. Because the more you detach from the fear of being judged, the more power you have to show up as your authentic self. And remember, you're not living to please others. You are living to fulfill your purpose. And when you embrace that truth, being seen will no longer hold you back. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you so much for watching until now. And if you are enjoying this content so far, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel and join the evolution. And why not share this video with someone who might find it helpful as well? And also, I want to know what country you're watching this from. Please let me know in the comment section below. And with that being said, let's continue. One of the core reasons we fear being seen is the belief that we have to be perfect. But perfection is an illusion. No one is perfect, yet we hold ourselves to these impossible high standards in an attempt to avoid judgment. But the key to overcoming this fear is by practicing radical self-acceptance. So embracing yourself just as you are, flaws and all. And radical self-acceptance means recognizing that you are worthy of love, that you are worthy of respect, not because of your perfection, but because of your inherent humanity. And this shift in perspective frees you from the constant pressure to perform at an idealized level, because when you embrace your imperfections, they no longer become something to hide or something to fear. Instead, they become part of the beautiful and rich tapestry that makes you who you are. So rather than seeking approval from others to validate your self-worth, self-acceptance allows you to feel confident in your own skin regardless of external opinions. This is liberating because when you're okay with your flaws, they no longer have power to make you feel less than. And instead of fearing judgment, you simply embrace your individuality, knowing that not everyone will understand or appreciate it, and that's okay. And a great way to practice radical self-acceptance is by celebrating your imperfections. Write down qualities you love about yourself, including those that might be viewed as weaknesses or weird quirks, because this can be a great reminder that your perceived flaws are part of what makes you unique and what makes you valuable. It's easier to be seen authentically when you stop hiding or when you stop apologizing for parts of yourself that you've been taught to think are flaws. And just beyond that, practicing self-compassion is a crucial part of self-acceptance, because when you make mistakes or encounter setbacks, treat yourself with kindness rather than judgment. The way you speak to yourself matters. Because if you would never say harsh things to your friends, why would you say it to yourself? So by fostering a mindset of self-compassion, you really build a strong foundation of inner confidence that helps you face being seen without fear. And what I want you to take away from this is that radical self-acceptance involves letting go of the need to control how others perceive you. Because when you accept yourself fully, you stop seeking validation from the outside world and start finding it from within. And this not only helps you feel more confident when stepping into the spotlight, but also makes the fear of judgment seem less important in the grand scheme of things. So I want to dive a little bit deeper when it comes to overcoming the fear of being judged or being seen by talking about the importance of starting small. So taking on big challenges right away can feel overwhelming, especially when you're already dealing with the fear of being judged or the fear of being seen. And that's why starting small is such a powerful strategy. So gradually easing yourself into situations where you're seen by others allows you to build confidence in a controlled and in a manageable way. So start by seeking out low-stake opportunities to practice being visible. And this could literally be anything. It could mean sharing an idea in a small group setting. It could be participating in a conversation. It could also just be offering feedback to someone that you trust. So these small actions build a sense of familiarity and comfort in being seen without the intense pressure of a large audience or even high-stakes situations. And I promise you that as you gain experience and confidence in these smaller settings, you can progressively take on significant challenges. So for example, you might begin by, let's say, presenting in front of your friends. And then after a while, you can take that to a higher level and start presenting in front of a larger group. And that's going to make the fear of being seen less daunting. And a good rule of thumb is to keep pushing your boundaries just beyond your comfort zone, but not too far that it becomes overwhelming, you know? Because small wins lead to big victories. And every time you face the fear of being seen, you're building resilience. And soon what once seemed terrifying becomes just another part of your routine. And another benefit of starting small is that it gives you the opportunity to make mistakes and to learn from them in a low pressure environment. And remember that as long as we're on this earth, mistakes are inevitable. But in smaller, less risky situations, they don't feel as devastating. This allows you to adjust and grow without the heavy weight of high expectations. And gradual exposure helps reduce anxiety because you're giving yourself time to adjust to the discomfort. It's like building a muscle, you know? The more you practice being visible, the easier it becomes. And over time, you'll notice that the fear of being seen becomes less intense and you'll feel empowered to tackle even bigger challenges with confidence. And another powerful way to overcome the fear of being seen is to change how you view the spotlight. So instead of seeing it as something that highlights your flaws or makes you vulnerable, reframe it as a platform for your voice, a platform for your message, and for your presence. This shift in mindset transforms fear into opportunity. When you start viewing the spotlight as a tool to amplify your purpose rather than a lens focused on your imperfections, the fear of judgment begins to dissolve. And every time you step into a situation where you're visible, remind yourself that you have something valuable to offer. The spotlight is not there to scrutinize you. It's there to give you a platform to shine. And this mindset shift also helps you detach from self-criticism, right? Because when you're focused on using the spotlight to share your message or make an impact, there's just less room for worrying about whether you're being judged. So instead of focusing on how you look or how you sound, you can focus on what you're contributing to the world. So a good way to practice this shift is to write down why you want to be seen in the first place. What is it that drives you? What's your vision for the world and how do you want to use your voice to shape it? because this will serve as a reminder that the spotlight is a tool for you to share your gifts, not a place to hide in fear. And beyond that, seeing the spotlight as a platform allows you to embrace moments of vulnerability as chances to connect with others. And this can be in any setting, whether you're presenting, maybe you're sharing your work, or simply just having a good conversation. The spotlight becomes an opportunity to engage with others in a meaningful way. So instead of fearing judgment, you start to look forward to the potential of connection and also collaboration that comes from putting yourself out there. And ultimately, the more you shift your perspective on being seen, the more you can leverage the spotlight to achieve your goals. So whether you're delivering a message, maybe pursuing your dreams, or just being authentic, the spotlight is no longer something to fear. It's really something to embrace and to use to your advantage to make an impact. Now, this next subject is one that you do not want to overlook, because one way to reduce the fear of being judged is to desensitize yourself to judgment. The more you expose yourself to critical feedback and practice handling it with grace, the less power it will have over you. So this specific process helps you stop fearing criticism, allowing you to focus more on your goals and less on external validation. So start seeking feedback from trusted sources. While this can be intimidating, constructive criticism is an essential part of growth. So instead of fearing it, see it as a tool for self-improvement. Because the more you get comfortable with receiving feedback, the more you realize that it doesn't define your worth. It simply helps you become better. Another strategy is to put yourself in situations where judgment is just inevitable. So whether you're posting on social media, maybe sharing work with a group, or simply expressing an opinion in public, putting yourself out there increases your resilience to judgment. You might face negative comments or even rejection, but over time, this will lose its sting. By experiencing judgment repeatedly, you start to realize that it doesn't affect you as much as you thought. And it's also helpful to just remember that judgment says more about the person doing the judging than it does about you. Remember that people have their own biases, they have their own insecurities and their own experiences that shape their opinions, right? So when you realize that criticism is subjective, you can stop taking it so personally. This emotional detachment is crucial for reducing the fear of being seen and just the fear of judgment. And one really good exercise to practice desensitizing yourself is to intentionally seek out feedback that isn't always positive. So this could mean sharing your work with a larger audience or asking for input from people with diverse perspectives. By exposing yourself to different types of feedback and different types of people, you'll grow accustomed to handling criticism with maturity and with objectivity. And over time, you'll notice that judgment has less and less impact on your confidence and decision making. You'll learn to take criticism in stride and use it as an opportunity to grow and just become better as a person, and the fear of being judged will gradually lose its grip. And more than that, you're just going to feel freer to show up authentically in every single situation. And there you have it. These powerful tips are a good roadmap to overcoming the fear of being seen and stepping into the confidence that's already within you. Remember that your voice, your story, and your presence are worth sharing. And when you embrace these strategies, you'll start to show up more authentically and fearlessly. So my question for you is, what's the one tip you're most excited to try first? Drop a comment below and let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. And if you found these tips helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe as well for more empowering content. And why not share this with someone who might find it helpful as well? With that being said, it is now time to turn off the candle and send you with a positive affirmation. So my chic babe, until our next encounter, let your uniqueness shine, let your self-love grow, and let your confidence inspire. And I'll see you when? I'll see you sooner than later. There you go. It is a wrap. It is a wrap. It is a wrap.